All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Facebook. Yes, today we're talking with Victoria Cannon in our Tucson Village gathering. Victoria has 14 years of experience providing mental health services in Tucson, Arizona. With a clinical specialty in early childhood mental health, she works to support the mental wellness of the newest members of her community and the grown-ups that care for them. Victoria strongly believes that taking care of ourselves as parents is the first step to raising emotionally healthy children. She is the mother of 3 young children, ages 5, yes, they're twins, and 2, and has experienced her own struggles navigating the postpartum life. Welcome, Victoria. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. Finding all the buttons on here every time. I keep changing the view and then I'm like, I don't know where my buttons are.
I'm like that too, all the time.
All right. So thank you guys for having me. I do hope that we can kind of have this as a little bit of a discussion, as a communication. So feel free. I think if you're on the Zoom, you can type your questions in the chat, and I think I have it where I can see it. And then we can, for people on Facebook Live, I think, Jenny, can they they can type something? Is that how that works?
Yep,
Okay.
Sarah's watching Facebook Live for sure.
Okay, yeah. And so you can just hop in and tell me to shut up and I'll answer any questions that come up. So today I wanted to talk about kind of self-care and communication and kind of how those two things go together. Everything changes a lot when you have a baby, and we hear all the time, oh, let me know how I can help, or how's it going? And then that's it. And so we say, oh, I'm fine. It's fine. We're cool. No problems. Meanwhile, you haven't slept in 3 days and you're wet and sticky everywhere because you're leaking everywhere. Your eyes are leaking. Your boobs are leaking. Your vagina is leaking. You're sweaty. Everything's disgusting. But you it's cool. So I want to talk about some of those things in some ways that, one, how do we take care of ourselves? Because you can't pour from an empty cup, but who's filling up your cup? How are you feeling? Where is the cup? I don't even know where the cup is. It's probably with the coffee cup in the microwave. So what I'd like to start with is just kind of an open question for people. If you're on the Zoom, you can type it in the chat. But how did you struggle, or who? First of all, can they raise their hand? Oh, I can't see anybody. Who struggled with communication and self-care after their babies were born? I know we did a lot. And it didn't get easier. I think we struggled more the second time because there's more to juggle, even though we knew what we were doing. And it was going to be easier with one. Me, hand raised, look at all these chats. Yeah. Who had a tough time at times in their transition to parenting? And then how's that Facebook Live chat look, Jenny?
Sarah's watching it. Yep.
Everybody, yeah. And then who felt like they got the help that they needed in that time? Yeah.
Supportive. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the baby. Oops. Depended on which child.
Yeah. Who felt the baby got what they needed? Yeah. The baby got what they needed. The mom sometimes got what they needed. Dads, I didn't see any dads on this. I mean, this is all moms, but sometimes the dads get what they need, sometimes not. They have their own stuff to work on. So we're going to mostly talk today about that role of the mom, but I did not know what I needed. Yes, Eileen. I didn't know what I needed, but Eileen came and mopped my floor. And I didn't even know we needed it. I think I took a shower. That's what I needed. Yeah, some Mead also didn't know what she needed. We don't know what we need. And it was hard to get support during COVID. Yes, all these new babies being born when no one can come over. Nobody's supposed to come over and mop your floor. You can't do those things. You can't ask for those things. My twins were born a little early and we had some pretty tough medical stuff. So one of the things that we needed that we were able to get, luckily, was like just those basic meals and foods, but being able to say, yes, I need food, but also I don't want to talk to anybody because I don't know where I'm going to be every day, because my twins were at 2 separate hospitals. So I had one twin at TMC and one twin at Banner. And so we were like, I don't know how we did it. I don't know what we did. I wasn't driving. But being able to say I need help, and also I'm not going to be there to say thank you, is a very like strange experience. Because a lot of times we don't ask for help because we don't know how to ask, or we don't want to ask, or um, we don't, there's like a sense that you have to give something back to get something, and you can't always do that. So, we don't, kind of navigating that. So it sounds like everybody's had pretty similar experiences in terms of, we get help, but maybe not everything, and we're kind of last on the list of what we're getting. So one of the things I think is really helpful to think about as we talk about how do we access help, how do we take care of ourselves, is thinking about the like where we're at in terms of our care in our life. And so I'm making a little triangle here. There's this fancy term, this fancy thing called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it's basically like you can't become like a self-actualized monk person, which is the very top of the triangle, when you're way down here at the bottom of the triangle trying to take care of your basic needs, your physiological needs, which is food, shelter, water. That's first. And when you think about that first postpartum period, like, one, that's all your baby needs, right? Your baby is at the bottom of the period trying to figure out, like, how do I regulate my body temperature? What is this weird feeling in my stomach? Oh, I'm going to scream about it until you fix it. And then for a mom, we're also barely taking care of our self needs. How many times have you been trapped under a baby? You're physically like providing food for them because they were hungry. So you pick them up, you get them a bottle, you're nursing them, and you sit down and you're like, oh my God, I am so freaking thirsty. I am not, like, my bottom of the triangle is not being taken care of. And there's no one there, it's partners at work, or you're home with another baby. You're like, can you go pour some water? They're like, I can't reach the faucet. Like, oh. So one of the things when we talk about need in care and taking care of ourselves is how do we go all the way down to the bottom and take care of that bottom first? Because that's what you're doing for somebody else. And so you need to do it for yourself too. Once you've been taking care of that bottom, then you start taking care of the next step in the triangle. That's like that next step up. And it's not that glamorous. That's the other thing with these bottoms of the triangle issues, is they're not glamorous needs. It's not like, who wants to call their friend and be like, you know what I need? I need a box of trail mix, and I need somebody to refill it every day. Because no one wants, like, that. It sounds so boring, right? Or I need somebody to make sure I have a water bottle by my chair where I feed the baby at, because I cannot for the life of me remember when the baby is screaming at me to get up and fill up my cup before I settle myself down. And I don't know, especially when their heads are floppy and they're tiny and you're trying to figure out, like, how do I hold the bottle? How do I hold you? Do I need to burp you? Once you get settled, like, it's a production. And so now that you're settled, yeah, I need more hands. Yes, I need more hands. I need go-go gadget arms to like get to I still have like times of, as I'm remembering this, like sitting down, nursing babies, and I can see the cup of water that I poured myself that didn't make it all the way to the couch. And you're going to be there for a while, right? That baby's going to take a long time to finish that bottle, that nursing session, and then they're going to fall asleep on you and going like, do I get up now and get the water because I'm home alone? Or do I wait to get the water? Do I risk disrupting this process of feeding, or do I risk disrupting the sleeping baby at the end? And those things that you're worried about. But really, I really needed that water. It's hot. Nursing is hot. You're thirsty. You're taking care of your body, and your body is healing. Like at the bottom of this triangle, however you gave birth, your body is in recovery. And for those of you that didn't give birth, but are still taking care of a newborn, your body is still in recovery because you're not sleeping. And sleep is how your body takes care of yourself. And sleep is the bottom of that triangle. The next step up is safety. Like, so if you've somehow managed to mobilize the help, or you're coordinated enough to remember to sit down with a glass of water and drink the cup of coffee while it's still warm, is, am I safe and is the baby safe? And I'm curious, I'm curious to hear from you guys about those worries of safety, remembering those safety worries in those first couple months in particular, but even that first year. Who remembers being worried about? I mean, my twins are 5 and I still go in their room and move the blankets off their face, even though they sleep purposefully under the blanket. Worrying about your safety and your baby's safety. Yeah, me, Sarah, me. The safety around sleep, the falling asleep when you weren't planning on co-sleeping, and waking up with that feeling of, oh no, what happened? Is everybody okay? That feeling of, I'm going to be home alone, and um, I don't have the mental energy or the emotional safety to be home alone today with a baby. Those moments of where you're scared for yourself, you're scared for your baby. And do I call and have somebody come and sit with me? Do I call and say, I'm gonna lose it today if this baby cries at me one more time? Um, the anxiety. I remember anxiety and intrusive thoughts about things that could happen in regards to safety. Yes, intrusive thoughts about safety are huge. These steps of like self-care, they build on each other. So when we're not taking care of the bottom and those safety things come up, it becomes even harder to rationalize through it. I used to call my husband when it started to get dark and beg him to come home. So that feeling of fear and need. It was hard to think while tired and feeling the baby is so vulnerable. Yes, you look at this little tiny thing and you have to do all of it. Um, and it's so scary because if you don't, the what ifs, what could happen? Sleep deprivation was significant for me. I think that led to a lot of anxiety. Absolutely. You're not taking care of the bottom, and not because you don't want to. I've never met a new mom that's like, I don't sleep all night, but it's good. It's great. I'm happy. We're not doing it on purpose, but it's happening. And then you're building that anxiety, and anxiety is that perception of fear when there's no fear, there's no actual danger, but there's potential for danger. Crystal, I had so much anxiety with my first, and then even more anxiety thinking about trying to get help. Yes, you're stuck on the couch. You see that glass of water. You want that glass of water, but do you call somebody to come over? You're stuck on the couch. It's almost dark and you're scared. And you're scared about how long you've been alone and how long you're going to be alone. Do you call for help? That sounds scarier. I don't know what I said, Eileen. Could I say that part again about fear?
You were talking about how the sleep deprivation
Oh, yeah.
pushed your body into this part that is not really there.
So, yes, anxiety in general, just sort of back it up a little. Anxiety is, at its core, it's the perception of fear when there's no danger. And we have those sensations of anxiety, but we have them when we're face to face with a tiger. We don't call that anxiety. We call that really freaking scared. When we have those same perceptions, those same physical sensations in our body, but there's no tiger, we call it anxiety. And when we're not taking care of the bottom, when we haven't been fed, when we haven't slept, we haven't taken a shower, and we're sticky and we're gross, we feel very vulnerable. When we're in pain, our perception of fear is heightened because we're not as capable of if something dangerous could happen, you're not as capable, and your body knows that. I bought into fear mongering about bed sharing, but it was inevitable that we'd nod off those first few weeks. So learning to do it safely. Yes. I, yes, those, finding that balance. It's fine to, it's, there's safe bed sharing. It's fine to not bed share, but when you haven't slept, you're going to fall asleep. And when you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day, you are probably going to fall asleep. And so finding a way to deal with it safely so that you can catch that sleep if you can get it. Um, Having my baby in the bouncy seat right outside the shower door. So even when you take care of, even when you find a way to take care of yourself, um, you're not doing it by yourself. How many times do you take the shower and the baby's in you're, I didn't have to do this because my bouncy seat didn't fit by my shower, but I know many of you taken a shower with your foot out the door, bouncing the bouncy seat. Like, one, that's a safety issue because you're going to slip and fall and bonk your head. And two, like, it's not fueling. I talked about being sticky earlier. For me, being sticky was like, you're just everywhere, right? You're sweaty, you're gross. And being able to just take that shower was huge. But taking the shower when I was by myself with any of any of the kids' age, just the singleton or the twins, never felt very good because you never got clean because you were never in there long enough to relax. You were in and washed and out because somebody was screaming or you thought someone was screaming. You to the bouncy seat Sarah, continuous flight or fight. Exactly. We're stuck in that flight or fight and we need to take care of these. I'm talking about these bottom two. At some point in your life, you can worry about that self-actualized state of being, like you can Buddha yourself out. But when you're in a crisis, and having a new baby is the best kind of crisis you can be in, we got to take care of this stuff first. The showered sling, only sort of better. Yeah, you get the shower and it's safe, but I never did that because I like my showers at 140 degrees. And so it's like, I don't think you should put a newborn in there with you. I'm like, yeah, it's probably not safe. But they're from Tucson. They'll be fine. These kids will be fine. So once you've got your physical care and your safety, the next one that you can sort of start to talk to, and we won't spend as much time there today, is that feeling of connection. And that's when you can start to think about other people. You can think about your partner, asking for that emotional support, having somebody, your love language, talking about those things. And then esteem. That's when the help, oh, you're doing such a great job. Actually, you can even process those things because people come over, right? Oh, you're doing so great. You look so good. Your baby looks so healthy. It looks like you're nursing fine. And you're like, yeah, that's great. Can you hand me the glass of water? I can't even process those wonderful things you're saying. Oh, I don't know how you're doing it. I don't either. I don't know how I'm doing it either. I know people have been doing it for millions of years, but in this moment, in this second, I have no clue what I'm doing or how I got here. So what do we do? How do you do these things when you really don't have time? And realistically, many of us are not going to have the physical help on a regular daily basis that humans were really designed to have and need when taking care of a baby, because babies are needy and they're dealing with the bottom of the triangle. They don't know how to take care of these basic things. They can't wait. They don't wait. I'm remembering now, I'm having flashbacks. We used to call one of my twins we called him the gremlin because when he woke up screaming. He never, it wasn't until he was 1 that he woke up smiling ever. It was asleep and scream. Those were your choices with that kid. And he had, reflux and it helped with medicine, but it was just exhausting. So then if you're working on these bottom things, the care that you need to do, the self-care that you need is really, really basic. This is not the time that we're like, oh, if I could just get a getaway, a vacation. No, you're not getting a vacation. You go on vacation, you're just, what is it? You're just parenting in a different place with less of your You either bring all the things, which is stressful, or you go there and you're like, crap, we don't have a bouncy seat. Now I can't take a shower in the hotel. And the water is, your glass of water is still all the way across the hotel room. And I guess you could call room service at that point and be like, can you please bring me a glass of water? But wheel it all the way in. But probably not, because like the phone's also across the room, because the chairs are never by the phone. So when we talk about this self-care, we're talking about really, really basic stuff. We're talking about taking care of these basic physical needs. Ideally, you're communicating with somebody in your life and kind of having somebody who can help, but maybe you don't have anybody who can come over and mop your floors or watch the baby so you can take a shower. So I want to talk about some things we can do that refill the cup while we're at this bottom layer. And we're going to do one of them actually together. So, okay, so how do you soothe a grumpy 4th trimester baby? What do you do with a baby who is dealing with that has gone into gremlin mode and needs some help? What do you do? Yeah. The bounce. I remember my girlfriend telling me when her baby was like 4 months old, she went to dinner at her in-laws house and she was sitting at the table like this. She didn't have the baby, and she had a pretty rough she had her own gremlin, and she just had been doing this for so long that every time she sat down, and she had to like train herself in meetings not to do it anymore, because yeah, you rock, you bounce, you feed, you leak, lots of carrying, a trampoline. So you stood on the trampoline and bounced the baby? Damn.
A tiny one.
Oh, I just like, that hurts my uterus. Like you're still like, yeah, but that's what they need, right? They need that proprioceptive input, feeding, trying to get to sleep. You turn down the sound, but not all the sound, because you can't make it too quiet because they still have to get used to noise. You turn down the lights, but not all the lights, because you need to get them used to daytime and nighttime. You feed them, but not too much. I mean, you can't not feed them too much, but somebody's going to say like, don't feed them too much. You need them to eat bigger quantities less often. Don't cluster feed. You take care of their body is really ultimately what you're doing. And limit distractions. The first one always has lots of limited distractions. The last one, that poor kid. It's fine. I think our rule was like, if you're going to scream in the house, you have to scream away from the bedroom door. Was the rule. Poor baby. My 5th can sleep through a hurricane. Yeah. One of my twins likes to sing in his sleep really loudly, so his brother can also sleep through a hurricane because they share a bed. I can't sleep through him singing. I had to move his bed across the room because it was against the wall. Oh, he's so loud. So these same things that we do for a baby, these same basic things, well, maybe not bouncing. I didn't want to be bounced, but physical soothing. How do we take care of these things for ourselves? How do we make sure we have the glass of water, right? Food and water. Physical soothing for an adult, it doesn't always look like bouncing on a trampoline, but it can, for yourself, it can be wearing clothes that are comfortable, getting yourself that, everybody's sleeping. So you put on the cozy blanket, or you wear the comfy socks, or you walk around naked, or you hop in the shower for the 30-second not great shower, but it's better than the no shower that you had the 3 days prior. When we think about self-care, a lot of times we think about those like beautiful lists in the magazine of like the 100 things you could do for self-care this weekend. Go for a walk in the woods, get a massage. I didn't want massage. Like they massaged me in the hospital. That shit hurts. They like beat you up to make your uterus shrink up. Deep breaths together and dancing. Yeah, movement. We're talking basic movement, slow movement, fast movement if you're comfortable. If you're good on the trampoline, do the trampoline. I'm still really impressed by that. One of the things that we can think sorry, I got myself distracted. So the point is we need to shift our gear from like, we don't need a pedicure. A pedicure is great, but it's not great if you're doing your pedicure while also feeding and bouncing your baby. I mean, maybe it's great, but that's not the core of it. I wish I had my weighted blanket years ago. Yes. I didn't have a weighted blanket, but I had the cat. The cat was like a nice solid weight in the evening that kept my lap warm. It's like these recognizing and being aware of like, what is your physical comfort? Where do you get comfort and how can you get help to get those very basic things? And these are not the glamorous things. Like we're not asking our best friends to go meet us for brunch and mimosas so we can get out of the house. That's lovely. Well, it's COVID, so we can't do it anyway. But that anxiety about help, right? Like how do you deal with that anxiety about help to call and say, I need you to go to the grocery store and I need you to pick me up some trail mix with chocolate in it and a case of water because I can't remember to have these things available to me. That's the help I need. I don't need another set of really cute baby clothes that I'm just going to throw in the washing machine. And I had summer babies in Arizona. They just were naked anyway. The real awareness of what self-care looks like and paying attention to that. It is hard to be so vulnerable. Yes, it is hard. And it is hard to say, especially if you're having to ask people that are not like in your household, right? Like people want to come over, they want to see the baby. And how do you say no or yes, but if you do, please get me wipes or get me Starbucks or get me a granola bar. Or asking your partner, I remember one of the things, if one of the things is food, we don't eat. We don't have time to make lunch because you're making bottles or you're making food with your body. And so how do you remember to ask somebody, maybe your partner, to be, I know this isn't fun. I know you come home and you want to hang out with the baby, but I need you to like slice me some cheese and pick me up some Ritz crackers and have them on a tray in the fridge. I need you to make sure that when you come home, you ask if I need water because I don't know if I've had any water to drink. So the other thing is, or enough hands to make food and hold your baby who won't let you put them down. Yes. All the hands. If only we were octopuses. But I think actually they have a really terrible delivery process, so we don't want to be octopuses. Baby carriers. Yeah, baby carriers are great, but who's going to show you how to do it? There is a great Tucson group that'll show you how to do it, but it's hard. Yeah, YouTube. Breathe, 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 breathe. We use baby carriers a lot. I have a really one of those pictures of those early days. I have a baby in a carry and a sling, and I'm like sweating. I'm sticky again. They're 1 month old, so my kids were really sticks too, so they're not cute yet. And I spent like 45 minutes getting him in this wrap in this carrier so he would stop crying, and the gremlin woke up. And so I have this decision, right? Do I feed the gremlin and get him? So I have a picture and he's in a wrap and I have like shoved him over and I'm holding his brother and I'm nursing his brother. And I sent that picture to my husband. I took it on a dirty mirror. And I was like, you have to bring home dinner because we've been like this all day. And it was terrible, but he brought home dinner. So that helped. But it took a lot to take that picture and it took a lot to say like, this is not going well. Like, this is not a pretty day. And I need you to do these very unglamorous things because I need to not be touching somebody for a little bit. So I want to do a little relaxation exercise that we can do that is a good way to remind yourself, how do you relax yourself? How do you physically soothe yourself? And how do you do it quickly? And we're going to do like the shortened version of it. You can make it longer on your own. You can do it shorter. Admitting to yourself that you need help is so hard, and freeing when you're able. Yes, that is the biggest barrier, is being vulnerable. I wrote it down because I want to remember to go back to that, even though it's in my notes, but I'll forget. So the baby is somewhere in the bouncy chair with a friend or a partner, and you have, or it's miraculously laying down in its crib that you spent hours and hours and hours making perfect, that it hates, and big kids watching TV or reading a book or with grandma or somewhere, and you have 5 minutes. It's not enough time for a nap. It's not really enough time for a meal. It is enough time to like drink a couple gulps of coffee, eat a cracker, and re-regulate your body. Because what happens is, as you get stuck in this cycle of not taking care of this bottom level, your body gets tenser and tenser and tenser. You're developing more and more stress hormones in your body. Your cortisol shoots out. Your what's the other one? Your adrenaline. Every time the baby cries, you get a little burst of adrenaline, but you're not releasing it. So this is called a progressive muscle relaxation. If you're somebody who's really auditory, you can Google this, and they have tons of them on YouTube. This is something you can do for yourself that is a reset. You can do it really fast, because I want to ask everybody before we do it to think about that feeling you get when you've put the baby down or passed the baby off, and you're going to go do something to take care of yourself, like pee, or grab that glass of water that's been staring at you for an hour that you haven't been able to reach, and you hear the baby cry. And it's the cry that means you're going to have to go in there, even if there's somebody else there. What does your body do in response to that cry? Yeah, yeah, your shoulders go up. You stop breathing. Your stomach goes, ooh. You feel like you're going to throw up. You get flush. Yeah, your heart rate goes up. Your face gets red. You get hot. I know I'm talking about sweating a lot, but that was a big one for me. I would sweat because my heart rate would go up, so I would start to sweat. Anybody else? Anything else? Give you guys a second. You do this. Like you either get more tense or you lose all of your body tone. Cry. Yeah. The baby cries. You cry. If you're lucky, it's like just a tear, but sometimes it's you're right there with that baby, right? I used to get pins and needles in my toes and my feet. Yes, that is a stress response that's really common that people don't talk about. Your body we briefly touched on fight or flight. That's the flight or fight thing kicking in. Your brain not good at telling what is dangerous. It knows there's something not good happening. So it's like, oh, I know, I'll get you ready to run away. But you can't run away because it's your baby. That crying. So we can all imagine that feeling. It's not a good feeling. And we don't take care of it. We don't take those 30 seconds. We go get the baby because he's going to go gremlin mode if you don't go grab him. So this is when we do this progressive muscle relaxation, what we're working on is this very base process of taking care of the physiological needs of your body. And if we can take care of this physiological need and relax your body and process some of those hormones so your hands stop tingling, so maybe you don't stop crying, but you're not like, you can breathe again, so your heart is beating at a faster rate, so you're not going through the rest of the day like this. Because then if you don't release these things, what's going to happen is you get the baby calm, you don't release, and then the baby cries again. Your shoulders can't get any higher. You think you can't cry any harder. You can't go any longer without breathing, but we do. But each time, by the end of the day, you're spent because you've spent all day in this like heightened stress response. So everybody can do this. You can follow along. I'm going to actually like do it while I'm talking about it. If you've ever done yoga, they do this a lot in yoga. The idea is like if you squeeze your muscles, when you release them, you've released them in a more relaxed state than they were when you started. So all we're going to be doing is you're breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth while squeezing and releasing your muscles. You start at your feet, you work your way up to your head, you do your whole body. We're going to do big muscle groups just for time's sake, but when you do it on your own, you can do small muscle groups. This is really great for sleep. Everybody's had that time where you fed the baby in the middle of the night. You maybe have 2 hours if you can get to sleep right away and you lay down. Is the baby breathing? How is my husband sleeping? What's going to happen? What's that noise, right? And then you can't get back to sleep. Humming is naturally resetting and calming. Yes, humming is a good one too. Humming is physiologically calming for you and your baby because when you hum, it's on your chest too. And where do you put your baby? On your chest. Absolutely. And we'll talk about using these with our babies too. So I do this with my eyes open because of my own internal regulation, but you can do this with your eyes closed. But everybody, I'm going to ask you to just sit comfortably. If you're standing, you can do this standing, but it'll take a little bit of time. And just think about that feeling you have when you hear that baby cry. And then we're going to squeeze the muscles in our feet and our legs. And we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose, hold it, and breathe out through our mouths. So deep breath in and squeeze the muscles in your legs and your feet. Hold it, breathe out through your mouth and release your muscles. Do it again. Deep breath in through your nose while squeeze the muscles in your legs and feet. Hold it and breathe out. Now we're going to do our trunk. So squeeze the muscles in your hips and your butt and your stomach and your chest while you breathe in. Hold it and breathe out. And again, hips, chest, tummy, your base of torso, and squeeze and breathe in. Hold it and breathe out. And do your hands and your arms and your shoulders, squeeze and breathe in. Hold it and breathe out. I forgot to say, it's not about how hard you squeeze. So if you have pain, like you don't have to squeeze that area or over squeeze. It's just about bringing awareness to those muscles. Hands and arms and shoulders, again, squeeze and breathe in. Hold it and breathe out. We're going to do our faces. Squeeze. This one looks funny. Squeeze all the muscles in your face, your ears, behind your ears, your head, and breathe in. Hold it and breathe out. Your face and your ears again, squeeze and breathe in. Hold it and breathe out. And now your whole body. Squeeze and breathe in. Hold it. Release and breathe out. In your whole body one last time. Squeeze all the muscles that you can and breathe in. Hold it and breathe out. I feel dizzy. Of course you do, Eileen. The purpose of this is to help your body slow down. To do this slower, if you have the time, you finish the midnight feed and you're just trying to go back to sleep, do your toes, then your feet, then your calves, then your thighs. If the baby is screaming and you have to go get there and you feel your heartbeat going up, and your shoulders going up, just squeeze your shoulders. You don't have to do your whole body. But the idea is paying attention to where your body is dysregulated and regulating your body. And the other kind of thing to consider while you're doing these kind of self-care, I love the idea of humming. I don't remember who said that. Amy said that. And just breathing in general, people have been saying breathing this whole time, is you can do these things with your baby. So a lot of times we think about self-care as our own time, and we all need our own time away. But babies themselves are regulating. They're weighted, they're warm, they breathe very deeply, and they can be very regulating. That's not to say you have to always do your self-care with your baby, but if you're stuck and trapped, and we've all done that, you hold the baby, you smell their little head, maybe it smells a little bit like throw up, but it also smells really sweet. My twins were pukers, so they always smelled a little bit like vomit. But you can do this relaxation with your baby on your chest. When you pick up the baby and you're patting and humming, you can pay attention to how that feels and how your breathing changes against your baby. So if you're breathing and you're taking deep breaths in your stomach and your chest is moving, pay attention to where your chest touches your baby and where it doesn't. How does it change when you breathe in or breathe out? How your heart rate should not match your baby's heart rate, because their little heartbeats go so fast. But having them there and just listening, using your ears to listen to that relaxation that they have, those floppy arms that they have, can you make your muscles match those things? And these are all things that you can do sort of on your own and internally. And the last thing I kind of wanted to go back to was this idea of being vulnerable. The biggest barrier in taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of our babies tends to be fear. We're scared of a lot of things. We're scared of being judged. We're scared of not being good enough. We're scared of other people knowing that we're not good enough. But we're all kind of going to mess up. We're all at times not going to be good enough. We're all at times going to be more than good enough. So when we talk about asking for help, when you think about that fear you get, that fear of vulnerability, that fear of admitting you need help, that fear of saying, if I'm alone after this time of day, if I'm alone in the dark, I don't know what I'm going to do. Think about how your body responds to that fear and take care of that physical sensation first. Use that relaxation for that first. Release those muscles in your legs. That fear of judgment, yes, we get judged. We're all going to be judged by people. But a lot of that anxiety is, again, it's that perception of danger where there's not necessarily danger. You know, not everyone, most people know that this is a really hard job, and most people want to help us navigate it. And so if you can take care of that anxiety, your own little internal gremlin that's telling you, don't ask for help, they're going to know you're not doing great. They're going to know you didn't bounce back, whatever the hell that means. Taking care of that response first, and you're the one that has to talk to yourself. And so you're the one who has to address that, so that then you can motivate or activate your support network to get you that glass of water, to bring you the trail mix, to mop your floor, to let you take the shower without your foot hanging out of the shower and bouncing the baby, and taking care of those things. So, did I time that right? I can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that. Yeah, you did great. That was perfect. And thank you so much, Victoria. This was so great. So those of you who are joining us on Facebook, we're going to pop off now so we have time to, answer any questions or just share a little bit more vulnerably than we can on Facebook. So if you want to join us, you're welcome to. I think Sarah's popped the link down in the chat. So we'll pop off now.